everybody, this is Jay Scott Heath with Heathplex Vision, and I want to tell you a story today. And this is something that happened to me a couple months ago, and I more or less just want you to think about this mindset. And what I'm going to tell you a story about is a repair that I had done on my plasma television set. A couple months ago, the power supply went out on my television set. We had a power outage. It wasn't hit by lightning or anything like that. I mean, I've got it plugged into a fairly decent power supply and a surge protector. But when it tried to turn back on, I would just get the blinking red light on the power button, right next to the power button. And the number of times that it blinks, and this is pretty common amongst most high-definition television sets, the number of times it blinks indicates what type of problem the television set is currently having. And you can find out by going to the website, typing in your TV model number and you know, blinking red lights and number and things like that. So this is what the technicians use to diagnose. Well, I decided to go get it repaired. And TV repairs, I don't know how many of you have had to go do this, but it's a scary thing. Even for someone like me who kind of knows the environment a little bit, it's still a scary thing because you just don't know what this is going to cost. So I found this gentleman out in Manassas, Virginia, and a shop called G&E Television Set, who was fantastic. Brought it out there. This was a 50-inch Panasonic plasma television set that was built in July of 2008. Brought it out to him. He was very thankful for me to come out. Really appreciated my business. He actually complimented me on my television set. He really liked that model of Panasonic. Thought it was a very durable, quality built television set. And said, hey, it'll cost me $75 for the diagnostic, which he applied towards the overall cost of repair. Called me up, said, hey, it's about $250 for the power supply, which was bad, and then probably another hour worth of labor. So all in all, we're talking about $400, which is about a quarter of what I originally paid for back in 2008. While we were there, having looked around his shop and helped him put it up on the workbench, you couldn't help but notice the 40 or 50 other high-definition television sets laying around the shop. Now, I'm not talking about the old-style cabinet, upright, projection screen television sets. These were all LEDs, LCDs, plasmas. They were everywhere. And they weren't just a certain brand. They were every brand. They were Samsung, LG, Sony, Toshiba, Hitachi. Nobody was safe. And I asked him, I said, these televisions look less than a year or so old. And he said, yeah, they're all crap. And I just kind of laughed, and he said, they are. They're all crap. I said, well, is it something common? Is it the same problem with all these television sets? Is the same type of components going bad? He said, no, they're all different. They all have different kinds of problems. And then he said something to me which kind of took me away, was that he said, high definition television sets these days are completely disposable. And I said, are you kidding me? $1,500 for a high definition television set, and I'm supposed to think of that as something that's disposable? He said, yeah. He said, because almost all the television sets that were sitting in his shop, nobody was coming back for them. I was blown away. And here's what the problem is. Television set comes in as bad. He diagnoses it and says, hey, this circuit board needs to be replaced. Circuit board may cost anywhere between $200, $400, $600, depending on what the problem is. And then a couple hours of labor. Well, instantly, you're already approaching the 40 to 50% mark on what you originally paid for the television set, putting the consumer in not only an angry state, but a state where they didn't even make a decision on whether they want to spend that kind of money, basically buy half of their television set again, or wash their hands of it and say, I'll just go get a new one. And the funny thing is, most people are going the latter route. So they leave this television set there. This guy, the owner, is stuck with a television set that he now has to dispose of. And do you think it costs money to dispose of a television set in a landfill? $50 a television set. So a number of these had sticky notes with Mexico written on them. He's actually found a buyer who picks them up by the truckload every couple months and takes them off to Mexico, which helps defray some of his disposal costs. But the rest of them he's kind of responsible for. So some of them he can part out, some he can't. But in his mind, they're just garbage. And again, it really makes you think about the quality of our electronics these days, where things are built, how well they're built, and what are they, why are we not building stuff to last anymore? Could you build a television set to last 20 years? Of course. Many of us have moms and dads and grandparents who still have television sets they've had for 40, 50 years. And you know what? They probably work. And they're very easy to work on. And you could get the parts for them. The repair business has changed a lot. Parts are not the supply system for parts isn't as robust as it was for older television sets. That is, in a sense, driving the high cost of repairs just because of a supply issue. And I hate to think of that as a tactic, but I'm taking this from the expert who's been in the repair business for several decades. And that is the tactic. Consumers are now more likely to dispose of a broken television set and go out and buy a new one versus having one repaired. So what does this mean for you these days? Well, what this means is you need to do your research. You need to understand what it is you're buying and not looking at that eye candy price tag that you may see in an ad or online. You need to start reading some consumer reviews on these products and understanding how often are they getting returned, what's their customer service like, things like that. Heck, go find a TV repair guy and just walk in his shop. I can tell you that most of them that I saw in there were Samsung and Sony's, which I was very shocked at. So it isn't always the third-party vendors, the no names that you're always scared to buy, the ones that you think are going to be the bad ones. So just keep that in the back of your mind. I think we're reaching this point in a lot of our electronics, and as the garbage of electronics is rising endlessly, is due in big part because the quality of a lot of these things just isn't where it needs to be. Sure, technology continuously updates and things get out of date so fast and everybody wants new and the latest and greatest. I get that mentality. I'm built that way too. But my mind has always been focused more on the quality. I'm willing to pay a little bit more for something that is well made. And I think that's kind of the message here. So if you reach a point in your purchase down the road where you need a repair done, I want you to keep in the back of your mind, and I don't want you to get too frustrated with the repair process because it is what it is. But you need to understand that you may have to make a very big decision on whether you want to throw this TV away or buy a new one. And at $1,500, that's a very tough decision. So I just don't want you to be blindsided by that, if and when you have to meet that challenge. But HDTV Vision is here to help. We can counsel you through this process. We can give you a hug if you need it, all right? But I just want you to know that that's kind of the way things are being looked at these days. So think about your purchases, do some research, ask your buddies, go down to a TV repair shop, ask them what they think, and honestly, they're there to help, and they really would. They really help me out, and they help me understand that business a little bit better. So again, if you got more questions on this subject or any other subject with technology and gadgets, please look us up at HDTVvision.com. Check out my blog, check us out on Facebook and Twitter, and let me know what I can do to help you today. Take care, have a wonderful weekend.
You gotta wake up so lazy and I don't remember it, but it's surreal and I'm in the middle of it.